now, and Josh is going to talk about cash value here for the last couple minutes or so.
Wow, unbelievable training, Shondell. That's that's just what we needed. You know, Bruce says he needs an axe through the middle of his forehead. I need thoroughness through the middle of mine. So that was extremely, that's just what we needed. You know, I wanna show something here. So I believe the reason that you and I are so, I guess, skilled with potential clients is right here. This right here, they're all filled with notes. And someone goes, well, how in the world do they do that? So, second, like with such second nature, that's right there. So hopefully you guys were taking rigorous notes as she's explaining it. When I take notes, I want to pick up on the things that I obviously don't know how to do like clockwork, but really the questions asked, what exactly I'm looking for, and that's exactly what she did. But for the last 15, 20 minutes here, I'm going to go into whole life insurance. And Keisha, you know, with that license of yours, with using what Shondell just went through, collecting data efficiently, where you're located, there's a whole bunch of this. So it's like, I don't even know, like going into looking for candy inside of a candy store. That's what it's like for you in New York. Lots of whole life insurance all over the place. So the other thing I was thinking about is if you can get really good at what we're talking about here, gathering data attentively with the intent to kill whatever the situation is, you can make $1,000 in a night. $1,000 in a night. And for those who still have a job on this call, think about how much work and time and effort you have to trade to your job to make $1,000. Here, you can do it in one freaking night if you get good. So, first things first, let's share the screen. And we've got Deceptions of Cash Value by Josh and Shondell. The misleading, you know, is the cornerstone of the whole life agent's career. Misleading. People don't just buy this terrible product just because, you know, they thought it was a good idea. Well, like the idea came from their head. The idea is planted in their head by somebody else. So you have to know what these life insurance agents are saying to clients, number one, so you can go in there with open ears, open mind, and you don't just beat the client up and walk out with no check. So the first thing is, you know, I bought it because my agent told me that it would last for my entire life. All right, so how do you combat this? So the first way to combat this is with the theory of decreasing responsibility, which Shondell just went through. Now, the long story short on the theory of decreasing responsibility is if you get life insurance, This right here is the value of your life insurance, 500,000. This right here is the value of your savings, 5,000. If you pass away right now, Mr. or Mrs. Client, what's more valuable now? They'll say the life insurance. But fast forward to later, your savings and investments might be valued at over 1 million. Now what's more valuable? The 500,000 of life insurance or the 1 million in cash? If you pass away, can you give that $1 million to your next of kin? Yes, you can do that. Therefore, the need for life insurance goes away and you don't need it anymore. Get the point?
Yep.
And at that point, they'll get it, right? So you have to be very eloquent in your explanation of the theory of decreasing responsibility, because I guarantee you they had never heard it up until that point. So once you destroy that, the next questions they'll want to know, they'll probably have after that is, well, what do I do when my what are my other options? Obviously term. What do I do when the term ends? Maybe they'll want some reassurance that you're not going to need the term life insurance policy for 30, 35 years, because I'm Mr. and Mrs. Client. I'm going to help you invest your money in places to where the value of your investment account is going to be twice as much as your life insurance in 20 years. So you're not even going to, I'm going to give you a 30-year term, but you're not even going to need it for 30 years, right? So some logic followed by some reassurance is how you rewire the damage that the whole life agent has done. Secondly, I believe people in the past have told me I bought it because my agent told me I can use it as a college plan. So this is huge because, people are, I'd like to think attached to the idea of their kids doing well, better than they did at least. So if they bought this product for the purposes of a college account, let's go ahead and take a look at, oh, by the way, look at that. Oh, I'm sharing my screen. I thought I was. Oh, okay. Sorry. I logged into my, you can make multiple hosts, right? But I gotta log into yours. So I apologize, guys. I'm logging in from my phone so I can show you the what to come back to the college argument. Join. And there we go. Waiting for, okay, boom. So there we go. I got the ability to share my screen. All right, so Mr. and Mrs. Client, you can use this as a way to, I think that's amazing, by the way, just sharing that this picture here is nuts. So you can use this, there we go. You can use this policy as a way to send your kid to college. So first of all, here's an example of a New York life insurance policy, okay, where somebody is pretty much setting aside $120 a month into their cash value portion of the whole life insurance policy. So just looking at what this person will have 18 years later, in the 18th year, off $120 a month, they're going to have $37,000 to send their kid to college with. Okay, there's several things wrong with this, but the first thing is I don't think $37,000 is going to send a kid to college fully. So whole life insurance cash value accounts historically perform at 1% returns annually. 1% is basically the same exact type of return or yield that a standard bank will give you. So the other thing is, when you take out money from your cash value account, it deducts the value of your face of the face value of your life insurance. So if you take $37,000, $40,000 out of your cash value account, and you had, let's say, $200,000 of life insurance, when you take 40 grand out to send your kid to college, you, the insurance policy owner, now have 160,000 of life insurance, because whatever you take out of your cash value proportionately affects your insurance. Now, what if I can show you a place where not only you can get access to one of the top 10 college savings funds in America, 4 out of 5 rating, but on top of that, when you contribute money to it, the money grows tax-free. Historically, these give 12 to 15% returns. Why is that so important? Well, because if I go to a compound interest calculator and I type in 100 and the same amount that this woman over here is putting into her New York Life whole life insurance policy, 100 in cash value account, $120 a month is like $1,500 a year. Do that for 18 years at a 15% return. Look at that. 130,000 available based on these returns to send my kid to college tax-free. Oh, and by the way, when I take money out of this 529 account, it doesn't deduct the value of my life insurance. On top of that, Mr. and Mrs. Client, when you put money into a college 529 account, you can actually deduct up to $4,000 per year on your taxes. So you get tax deductions as well. You don't get those in a whole life insurance account. So, needless to say, the option that was given to you as whole life insurance being a college option to send your kid to college is null and void. You don't want to have your life insurance affected by withdrawals. You want to have 4 times more funds available when your kid's ready to go to college with higher returns, not lower returns. All of that being said, can you see why whole life is not a great option to try to send your kid to college, Mr. and Mrs. Client? Yes. Okay, great. What's the next option? or not option, what's the next reason people buy whole life insurance? Well, I bought it to use as a added benefit to my retirement. That's what my agent told me. I can use it for retirement. So here I would say, I would start asking questions. Mr. and Mrs. Client, are you familiar with the concept of inflation? Every single thing gets more expensive by 3% in this country every single year. The money inside of your cash value account in your whole life insurance policy grows at 1% returns every year. If everything else is growing more expensive by 3%, but your money is growing by 1%, can you see how that's a problem for your retirement? Going back to the policy that I was just sharing, this woman is, well, got it at 43 years old. Okay, so 43 years old, and she got a preferred rating in the top right-hand corner, which is one of the best ratings you could possibly get. For $150,000 of life insurance, she was paying monthly $212 per month. After quoting her, we were able to give it to her for $92, so saving her $120. So if that's supposed to be an added benefit for retirement, unfortunately, this only shows up to, actually, no, it says it right there. By age 60, the value of that retirement account, well, actually, that's, adding from her current age. So 20 years later, by 63, she'd have 43,000 added to maybe whatever else she had, like a 401k or something. But how much would she have at a 1% rate of return after 30 years of putting $120 a month away? Let's check that out. 30 years, a 1% return, calculate. So 52,000 in that cash value account / retirement account. Oh, and by the way, when you take that 52,000 out, it's going to deduct 52,000 from that life insurance amount right there. So now you'd only have 100,000 of life insurance versus my option, where you can have access to a 15% return. Look how much you'd have added to your, excuse me, your 401k. And by the way, when you start taking money out of this account, it never would affect this number at all. And by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I can get you this same exact amount of coverage for $92 instead of the $212 you're paying now. Right? So, by the way, I can make it tax-free as well. And in conclusion, guys, they don't know that when they die, if they die prematurely, all the money that is available in this account here is going to be taken away from them. And their family only gets this number right here. So ultimately, the way you close this down don't worry about that last one. I'm going to skip that. But the way you close this down is live, pay, die. So I'm going to draw that here. So you've got two options here. I mean, three options here. Live, pay, die. You've got New York life insurance and the Primerica way. With what you're doing now, Mrs. Client, she has, if you live 30 years later, she'll have access to $52,000 in her cash value. She's paying $212 per month. If she dies, her family gets $150,000. Okay, we can give her the same $150,000 for $90 a month, saving her $120. And with us, 30 years later, she'll have $750,000. But if you pass away with the New York life insurance policy, your family only gets this and doesn't get this. With Primerica, if you pass away, your family gets this and this. They would get both. Looking at these options, Mr. and Mrs. Client, which would make more sense to go with? The New York life option or the Primerica option? They'd say the Primerica option. And by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Client, what do you call that when you pay for two things, but in the end, you only get one thing? They'll answer robbery, ripoff, manipulation, blah, blah, blah. You say, okay, awesome. So the only thing that I would need for you to apply with us is a driver's license and a routing and account number. If you guys could grab that for me, I'd love to see how we can get you out of this bad situation and into a better situation. So hopefully that helped, guys. Just a little tidbits and examples on, you know, how whole life insurance works. Apply what you learn. All of this doesn't mean anything unless I go out there and set some appointments with and recruit the whole world, continue expanding my team, and hopefully you guys end up doing that for you and yourselves as well. All right, take care.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for getting on. We're getting close to time, but I did want to see, did anyone have a question or anything for Josh or I before we wrap up, guys?
Yeah, I have something for Josh.